Belo'ren. This is the raid that we won't see for a couple of weeks, so I'll try to keep it short because I prefer we focus on the first 7 bosses that we can see rather than these last two. But anyways, we've talked about the majority of these. How I want to handle the tank frontal tanks. This is the first spot the bird will go, and this is the first soak. You'll put the bird on top of the soak. Don't put him inside of it, and don't forget that these puddles are going to grow and slowly get bigger. They do hit a maximum size. They don't keep growing indefinitely for the entire fight, but just make sure you're not going to put yourself inside of it. It's a rotating tank frontal where it will do a light one and then a dark one, and then at least on Mythic it'll do a half light, half dark, and you both have to soak that one on your respective sides. And I'll show you in the video what that looks like. But essentially, the raid group is going to be over here killing stuff below you. So you'll just point the frontal away where nobody should be, and if they are over here and they die, that is not your fault, that is their fault. And then when we go to the second drops, you'll do the exact same thing, point it away, and you'll just do that as we drop stuff around the room. I'm still not sure exactly how we're going to drop these around the room. I want to see how they do it live to get a good gauge on what it's going to look like and how filled up the room's going to be. But it's definitely going to be on the outside of the room. The second change that we're going to make, we only get one ad before we go through intermission the first time. As soon as we get done with the intermission, which is hitting the egg in the center of the room, and we come out of that and we fight the bird boss man again, now we're going to get a light and a dark soak. We will hard kill the light bird every single time. It is a full swap from everybody. You can kill it regardless of what realm you're in or what affinity you get. When we do that, the void bird just needs to be interrupted. And as a reminder, you can only interrupt the bird that you have the same affinity as. So if you have the void affinity, you can kick this guy. If you have the light affinity, you can kick this guy. The reason we're going to do that is that these eggs probably will have a healthy amount of health. When these guys die, they'll turn into egg form, right? So we want to only be killing one egg at a time rather than splitting our damage. So this guy will die, we'll kill his egg, he's out of the fight. We'll swap to the void bird, this guy will die, we'll kill his egg, now he's out of the fight. And we don't have to worry about ads until we get done with the next intermission all over again. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Cool. Yes, sir. Okay, when we go to intermission, I decided that we are going to use the Warlock way. If you don't know, you can use a Warlock gate to stop yourself from getting knocked up into the air. I'm pretty sure, yep, I have a video right here. So the bird's going to land, it doesn't even knock them up, and they can just gate to the center. And you can just get to whatever affinity side you need to from there. Which reminds me, a lot of people have changed to play something different than what they played last year. If you don't have Gateway Control Shard, you need to go buy it. These walls of balls. Again, we only get one wall, which is based off of if we get a light or a dark ad in the first part of the fight, which establishes if we get the light or the dark wall, depending on the color we did get. And then as soon as we start getting 2 of these ads every single phase 1, we start getting 1 void wall and 1 light wall. I have a couple of thoughts. These touching the boss is going to be a wipe. It basically enrages the boss. So we can't do that. So my thought right now is that we are going to be using tanks and melee to basically block like this area of the boss. And then we'll be using ranged and ranged healers to block like outside of this box of the boss. Now the reason we have to do this is because these will also spawn in the intermission, and we have to eat them in the intermission. So while we're doing this fun dance, and these things will bounce off of walls at weird angles. It's literally like Pong. So if we don't consistently eat these guys up, we are going to be overwhelmed. and we're going to have too many balls in our face. So get used to eating these. In PTR testing, and this is almost certainly a bug, if you were Dark Affinity and you were eating these light orbs, it really didn't do that much more damage to you. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be. You should really only be eating whatever is of your color, and that's about it. Yeah. The last thing about this fight is how the quills change on Mythic. It does splash damage. So this light quill went on this void player. A light player stands in to block the quill. It does an 8-yard splash to the blocking person. So if you're this void person standing next to him, the blocker, you will take splash damage, and it will be amplified because it's light splash damage onto you as a void player. Okay? Same thing here. If you are blocking and you have 2 people blocking this void arrow on this light person, sorry, this person will not be dead. Both of you will do splash. It will act as if it hit both of you. You only ever need to have one person blocking. Having more than one person block is unnecessary and extra damage, but I also get it. One of the things that I want to talk to you guys about is how we soak these quills, because like I talked about a couple weeks ago, this is not a mechanic where I can say, like, someone needs to go block Crimmy's quill, someone needs to go block Zess's quill, right? There's no way I can do that. It's got to be you see it, you go do it type of thing. It also needs to be in a way that people are aware that you're soaking the quill. So my thought is, if we have the person who's blocking always stand in the same spot, and then they do like an assist ping or a danger ping to let people know I'm blocking this so that people can get away from the splash damage, I think that's good. That, or we don't do a ping situation and we just say you will always stand at this spot of the quill if you're blocking. And people just know to stay away from that part of the quill. That second way sounds simpler and easier than asking everyone to constantly be pinging. But if we fuck this up, people die. So, any opinions?
Is there a world where we just always stand on the quill itself?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is like whatever spot.
Like the spot is on the quill?
Yes, the block spot is on the quill. So like when we get into a video here, I can show you, I'll point out exactly what I'm thinking for like where in the quill will stand. So it's going to be a bad angle, I'm sorry. But essentially what I'm thinking is you can see, damn it, you can see in that quill where like the arrow actually exists. Right? So if you stand like on top of this actual shard of the quill, you'll be blocking and it'll be obvious that someone's there. So if we do it the second way, that's where I would say to go stand. It doesn't have to be there, but it's just if we decide to go with the second method, we pick a spot and that's going to be the spot always.
I think you ping yourself if you're about to block. It doesn't matter which ping you use. You get there first and you ping. Everyone should have like one self ping.
Yeah, that's one of the things we're going to talk about when we're done talking about bosses. So I think the ping system.
Also, you should be able to see people. Like you should have friendly nameplates or friendly names visible. You should see them, but just to ping would be easier.
Yeah, I agree.
Just back off if someone's there first. And then the voice comms would be, no one's here, instead of everyone saying, I'll ping, or I'll block, I'll block, I'll block.
Mm-hmm. The direction at which we point these is also very important as well, because we can't do a situation where these quills are like going through the melee of boss, right? So it's like if you're going to turn this arrow, this quill, which is why I would say stand where like the beginning part of the quill is, because even though this raid plan won't show it correctly, it'll always stay like that shard of that arrow will always stay in the same spot. Regardless of if this person turns and pivots it, you are still blocking by standing in that spot. So if they need to turn it away so it doesn't destroy melee. But yeah.
How long do you have to react whenever the quills spawn? I think
Five,
it was like
six.
4 seconds. 5
Yeah,
seconds.
4 to 6 seconds, something like that. But the biggest thing here is like we can't send it through melee. So, okay. Damage right when we pull. If healers need extended timers for any of these fights, just kind of gotta know. So light.
Anything that has damage on pull press needs a little bit extra.
Okay. Noted. Okay, so light person is going to get dark soak. It does not do any extra damage to you just because you got this soak. It is a mechanic. You're intended to get that mechanic. It would be incredibly punishing if it like one shot you because of it. But void people get into soak. It does a knockback. Just keep in mind when you soak these, the way all of these void people stood so that they got knocked this way rather than like to the back corner of a room is how you want to do it. If you were to stand back here, you're going to get knocked into Narnia, and that's not good. This is the tank mechanic, and this is kind of why I want to point it this way, tanks, because no one should be over here. So you can taunt this off one another mid. So let's say that it was light on this tank frontal tanks. Tactics could be taunting him, and it would swap the frontal to him as the light tank. So it's not like Saladar where you have to pre-taunt and get it correct from the beginning. Quill stays out of melee. We're hitting this rebirth egg. It does have a sizable amount of health. It's a hard swap. Melee and tanks would be keeping the melee clean, and then range for the orbs, and then range would be soaking the outside ones. So he's going to get taunted off. See how it swapped to the void tank, and now it's going to go on to the light tank. And now you see these orbs are no longer in a straight line. They kind of all bounced off at weird angles. That's why we constantly want to be being hungry hippos. There's one thing I want to point out. I hope they fix this in both heroic and mythic PTR testings of this boss. If you pushed boss to 0% and these quills are out, if there's not someone already blocking them when the boss at 0%, they would immediately go off when the boss at 0%, and the person just dies immediately. Hopefully they fix it by the time it goes live, but who knows. So we're going to stack on the outside of the room. This is fall off damage, which is why we're going to stack on like the burgundy brown outer circle. Get to your correct side. Another reason why we're going to gate to the center is because it seems like this pattern starts 50-50 more often than not, but looking at other VODs, it doesn't always start with this 50-50, but gating to the center will make it so it's easy for you to get to your correct color. This does a lot of pulsing damage. And we have balls coming in, and we need to make sure that we are soaking them. I'm not 100% sure that balls ever despawn on this fight, which is kind of why I'm thinking of the hungry hippo strat, but we will see. So beginning of the fight, massive amount of damage again. And then we're going to get a light and a void soak here. You can Venn diagram these, but obviously only stand in your correct color. Light go to light, dark go to dark. And make sure you get knocked in the correct way. So now we're getting quills. We got a block. Tank mechanics going off away from the raid. And we would focus down one of these two. This is the new tank soak that happens after intermission tanks, where we're going to get a light soak, a dark soak, and then half and half. So both of you soak this one. The birds do have an aggro table, so we do need to get them taunted. I know that's going to be a bitch because while those ads are spawning, this tank mechanic is coming out.
Tank bundles are going out. Yeah.
Yes. And you guys obviously only have so many taunts. So this is more than likely going to be a misdirect angle. But yeah, this is... I hope they fix this timing. But yeah.
Fairly, I could be wrong about this, but I'm fairly certain I just like maybe 30 seconds ago just saw one of the balls just despawn on a screen. So I don't know if they last forever. I don't know if that's intended either. So
Actually, you just had one on your screen despawn.
Yeah, it just went through the wall at the top of the
Yeah.
screen there.
yeah,
Yeah, top left.
Oh, it just went inside the wall and just
yeah,
disappeared?
before this. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Maybe they can only bounce off the walls once before they disappear.
Yeah, all these ones that are coming back are the dark ones from the first set.
I think getting as many as you can is still valid, though.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like the biggest reason, going back to like the end of intermission, so like he's gonna do a lot of damage coming out of this, right? And then watch from the right side, these balls are gonna start coming in. He's doing all of the raid damage here. We can't let him berserk, and now we have to take more raid damage because we have to soak those balls from getting to him. That's kind of like what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain that just before the intermission started, the balls that were coming in despawned.
Yeah, if they despawn, that's great. That means it's going to clean up the room a lot. But yeah, again, you could soak balls of opposite color, and they really didn't do anything. But this boss is Giga enraged, and they're gonna all die right now. So, any questions?
Just something to note. Range can hit the ad before it comes down after the soak.
Yes.
They got that shit to like 70% before it even came down.
I actually have a VOD of them doing that. I think it's the second ad spawn he does it.
Like I saw them all in that other VOD peel off during Lust and to hit it.
Yeah, so right where I'm circling is where the void bird is at. And it already is targetable, obviously. So like as a warlock or whatever, you can already start dotting and getting damage going on that. Obviously, BM Hunter, no idea if that's gonna work how you want it to work, but that's a good point.
They're grippable, right?
I highly doubt that.
No. The fuck?
No, grip.
Right?
Okay,
Can we just have?
humor
can we
me?
just have
Didn't they
Kermit
just
clean
get
them?
gripped?
No, they landed
Go
in
back
their
in this VOD.
No, they landed
No,
in
go
the
back into
puddles.
this VOD.
They landed in the
Yes, look
puddles.
where they are, though. Look where they are. Look where they land. Look where they
Yeah.
go.
Oh, maybe they got mass grip.
You mean they are?
Grip them
That's
out.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not
Wait a minute.
losing it, man.
All right, good
You
call.
might be cooking on this, so
Hold
Good
on.
call.
Maybe they just move like that.
yeah, they just
Yeah.
like that real quick.
I mean,
Like
if that's the
raptors
case, then
leaping
you
around
just
the
grip
room.
them both underneath and
Yeah,
fucking nuke them.
maybe.
Just ripped.
All right, just
Come back to
couple
Hearthstone.
last second notes. A lot of tank things did not work on this fight in PTR tanks. Most notably the taunt stuff. So if you guys look more at these VODs, there were some weird shenanigans with tanks going on. If you do go watch like a full hour testing of this, the boss was bugged for the first 15 to 20 minutes of testing, so I would just skip that first 15-20 minutes. The boss would only last about a minute to a minute and a half before it would just randomly despawn. The last thing is Warrior Vix is slightly overpowered. There is, I think it's this Honolulu one, where I saw a warrior get a quill put on them, and he just spell reflected, and no one blocked for him. It's right there. So it's this guy right here. He's going to spell reflect. There's no one blocking for him, and it does nothing to him. His health does not move at all. Obviously, zero clue if zero clue if that's going to work correctly.
That'll probably get fixed.
Yeah, but just something to test out when we get into like normal to see if it even does damage to you.
I'll test cloak too. Might as well.
Yeah, I think all immunities work, but immunities might be better served for like soaking the balls when we get out of intermission, so just when he's doing all the raid damage. All right, any questions before we move on?